Capricorns, welcome to April 2018. Thank you so much for tuning in, I guess you could say. So I am going to talk about the free photo reading, but first I want to talk about what's going on in the planets, what's going on with astrology, then I want to get into the numerology, and then after when I talk about the photo reading, you'll know exactly what you need to send me, okay? But I am definitely going to talk about it, I won't forget. So I hope you guys are doing well. That full moon in Libra was on March 31st, and what that full moon in Libra did, and I'm sure you guys felt it, was it brought up a lot of attention to your relationships. So it really made you look at your relationships, how you're interacting with the people that you care about the most, how they're interacting with you, where you're feeling, used and abused, and where you feel like you can give more. So it's really, it was really blatantly obvious, maybe for me because I was a Libra, but also over the holiday weekend when, you are spending more time with your family, it just seemed a lot more obvious who was giving me life and who was draining me. So the good thing about that full moon in Libra on the 31st of March was that with that knowledge, we were able to acknowledge it, own it, and then it wasn't owning us anymore. It was like a very easy clear where we can just release it. That's the beauty of the full moon. So Mercury is still retrograde. It's been retrograde since March 22nd. It goes direct on April 15th. Thank God. Mercury retrograde usually doesn't affect me this much, but I don't know what it was about this. I don't know if it's just because it's the first of the year. I don't know, but it was so intense, and it's still going to be intense. There's a shadow period until May 3rd, so actually from April 15th to May 3rd is when it's going to be the most potent. And also depending on where it's hitting your chart, it definitely speaks more as to how it's going to affect you. But essentially, revisit things, rejuvenate yourself, rethink things before you fully commit. This is a time when a lot of exes come back in, or even just your thoughts, like you're dreaming about them. It's really just time for reflection. So don't put too much energy out. I know that might be awkward, especially with the new moon in Aries starting on April 15th as well as when Mercury goes direct. So that's when you're going to want to be really initiate some newness, but then the Mercury retrograde is going to be like, hold on until May 3rd. So the new moon in Aries on April 15th, like I said, it's a great time to start at least writing down and planning what you want to start for April, what you want to start for, this new year, for the summer, for this new season change, and just really start figuring out what that means to you and where you're going to find your happiness and where you can really pioneer some ideas. So write it down on the 15th. Look at it every day and start to really bring it into your world, and then within 6 months on the full moon in Aries, you're going to start to see that energy coming into your life. Sorry, I get winded. April 17th, Saturn goes retrograde. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. And not to say that Saturn retrograde is bad news. It's just, think about, depending on your age, think about around age 28 to 29, okay? That was when you had your Saturn return, and that was when times got tough, when you really had a lot of restrictions, when you had a lot of obstacles where it felt like, this heavy weight over you. But then afterwards, after your Saturn return around 28, 29, you felt this weight lifted. It's like all the hard work that you endured during your Saturn return, Saturn was like, okay, I'll reward you now. So that's what Saturn retrograde kind of works as well, where you go inward with a lot of those restrictions and obstacles until September 6th, and it just it pumps the brakes on that Aries energy, it pumps the brakes on the new moon in Aries, and it just sort of, makes you scale back and go inward and be like, well, is this really the right choice for me? It's also going to really make you feel more responsible. So kind of sucks to be having Saturn, the father planet over us, looming over us for the summer, but, still have your fun. Pluto goes retrograde on April 22nd, and that, in my opinion, maybe because I'm so affected by the Scorpio energies, Pluto retrograde I feel like is going to be even more intense, because Pluto is that planet of like deep down issues, transformations, all the taboo subjects, sex, death, taxes, other people's money, inheritances, all that stuff that you don't want to talk about. When you meet a Scorpio and they don't want to talk about the weather, they want to get deep down and talk about, your biggest fears. That's that Pluto energy. So when it's retrograde, all of that is going to be internalized. So the good thing about that, though, I must say, is that on April 29th, we have a full moon in Scorpio. So on the 22nd, you're going to go inward with all those fears and go through a little bit of an inner transformation. And then the full moon in Scorpio on the 29th, you can start to really purge out a lot of those deep down issues that Pluto retrograde is highlighting for you. Okay, so that's what's going on in the sky. Just to forewarn you, yeah, April is going to be definitely a transformative month. I'm starting to realize that people are coming into our lives this month, like especially, like if it's not an actual person, it's seeing a different side of a person that you thought you knew, or a different energy entering in some way, shape, or form, you know? And when I say a different energy, that could even be, you know, a different spiritual teacher, a different, you know, you find somebody online that you absolutely adore, an author, a teacher, somebody coming in to really catapult your advancement in your soul's journey. So this is really April, this month, April 2018, feels very feels very intense. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so let's get started on our reading. This is for Capricorn, April 2018. Let's see what's going on. Capricorn, April 2018. So some cards are already trying to pop out. Your subconscious does have some things to say. Taking a risk. So that's the first card to pop out, taking a risk. Which is interesting because, like I said, with that Mercury retrograde this month, it's fine to take risks, but the Mercury retrograde is going to really force you to think about it. And then the Saturn retrograde is really going to force you to get serious about whether or not that risk is worth it, because you're going to be competing a lot for this change. Okay? You're going to be really competing for your sense of freedom, for this change. You want to take a risk, though. You find that it's worth fighting for. This change is kind of like, see, lately with the Tower card, I'm realizing that the change really does symbolize upheaval. It really symbolizes like chaos and like a sudden change where you didn't you didn't plan it. So since it's, I know I'm a little bit late with my videos, but since it's April 5th, depending on when you're watching this, I'm telling you now, a change is coming. Expect it to be positive. Expect it to be a good change, okay? Because with Saturn, Pluto, retrograde, Mercury retrograde energies, it's going to feel a little bit hard. Like, okay, is this change a good thing? Should I be doing this? It's going to be a lot of confusion, a lot of haze. Trust and affirm that it will be a positive change. Always affirm for the best, okay? And then it will be. Believe it. I just watched The Secret again today, so I'm like totally law of attraction mode, totally inspired. Yeah, believe that it's going to be a positive change, and it will be a positive change. Maybe not at first, but it's that unwavering faith, right? Okay, so I think that's all that your subconscious wants you to know off the bat, Capricorn. So taking a risk when it comes to fighting for this change, fighting for your freedom, competing for this change. Okay, so the theme of this reading, which I think is already starting to make sense for me because, as I always tell you, I'm Capricorn rising. Okay, so fighting for this change, taking a risk, fighting for this change, because the theme of the reading is feeling very pinned down. You haven't drawn that line in the sand that says, these are my boundaries, do not cross. And now because of that pinned down feeling over this new beginning or this newness, or, you know, as a result of something that ended recently, it's now like, okay, I need to take a risk on making a change and fighting for this change because I am just so pinned down. And swords represent our thoughts, okay? Swords represent our thoughts. So being pinned down based on the pressures that you're actually putting on yourself. You're putting this amount of pressure saying, no, Capricorn, I have to do this, I have to do that. It's all in your mind, because if you ask anybody from the outside looking in, they're going to be like, ease up. You know, you don't have to do that. Do it like this. And it's like, nope. You haven't put that line in the sand to say, don't cross here. This is my space, that's your space. However, it's really empowering you at home and with the family. There's been a serious shift, okay? Because you're so pinned down and people see how hard you're working and they're seeing that you're trying to manifest this risk and this change, it's shifting your family's view of your empowerment when it comes to the home environment, when it comes to your place within the home as well. And although your foundation may be a little unstable right now, especially internalized, you have tons of strength for whatever messages come in for you. Whatever messages come in for you, especially when it involves the Queen of Wands. So, I'm going to describe who this Queen of Wands is, okay? So, this person has had recent endings. This person has had recent endings, and because of that, it's like they're in a race when it comes to life. It's like they're really rushing through life because of this ending. I think the ending really sparked the fact that, you know, life is short, you know, and it kind of just made them realize that they're not going to stay stuck where they are. They're going to start really living their lives in a very potent and powerful way, in an intentional way. So that's the main message I'm getting from the Queen of Wands. I think I see an N or an R, N and an R in their first, middle, last name. Yeah. And they're very confident on the surface, but it's like one crack and you just see, if you look them in the eyes, especially when you look at pictures, like speaking of photo readings, when you look at pictures, you can read so much in the eyes. Like a lot of the times, just covering up the eyes, you can see that worry, that scaredness, that unhappiness, or that joy. You know, a lot of babies, their eyes, like literally, because they have that natural joy. But especially for older people, and I'm finding, I don't want to generalize, of course, but I'm finding for women especially, you see a lot more of that worry and sadness in the eyes than I have for a lot of the men that I've read for. And I'm not quite sure where that's coming from. You know what, I heard this the other day and it really resonated. It was somebody talking about after they walked out of Wonder Woman with their daughter, seeing the movie Wonder Woman with their daughter, and they just felt so empowered, so confident, so incredible. They're like they just felt amazing. And then for a second she stopped and she realized, she's like, that's how every man feels walking out of every other superhero movie. So I think the confidence with a lot of the media that's been funneled into males especially has created, you know, something in the eyes that I keep seeing. Maybe just it's that confidence that women, for some reason, I'm not seeing in a lot of the pictures. I shouldn't say, I'm not going to generalize and say it's all the pictures, but in a lot of the pictures, the women, they look very kind of worried and sad. So that's with the Queen of Wands as well. You'll be able to kind of look at a picture of this person, cover their mouth. It'll be the first picture you look at, and you'll see that worry. If you were to not see the smile on their face, you would see, like, those look scared, you know, even zoom in on it. Okay, so pinned down, wanting to take a risk and fighting for change because you've been very pinned down, but it's empowering you a lot at home. Even though inside you're feeling like you have an unstable foundation, you are gaining a lot of strength, especially to deal with any messages coming from this Queen of Wands. You're going through a major transformation when it comes to your emotional health and happiness. Yeah, so your emotions are deceiving you, but the good thing about that is that you can work hard to change that around and to really manifest some positive opportunities into your life. Okay, so keep juggling, Capricorn. The thing with law of attraction, I'm going to go back to that, of course. The thing with law of attraction is you have to feel it as well. Like, I've been doing my daily gratitude journal every morning for the past 3-4 months, and it's created incredible shifts in my life. But I've also realized that you have to feel it as well. So when you're writing down, I'm so happy for my perfect health. I'm so grateful for my perfect health, you know, because I have ultimate energy and vitality. I needed to actually feel that I have that perfect health. You know what I mean? So when you're being grateful, when you're showing gratitude for things in your life, really feel it. Really allow your emotions to direct you to where you need to go and where you need to be. Yeah, if something doesn't feel good, don't do it. If something feels great, do it. It's as simple as that, really. So that's the theme. Let's get started on the actual reading. So, general confusion. A lot of confusion going on right now. Like I said, with a lot of the signs. I think it's the Mercury retrograde. You know, I think it's the new season change. We're now kind of at the beginning of the zodiac year. So yeah, there's some confusion because 2018 has already been so intense and it's only April. Like there's already been so many shifts and changes because 2018 is a master number 11 year, which is all about these spiritual shifts, these profound shifts that really shake us to the core. So Capricorns are definitely feeling that as well. They're feeling that general confusion. And the obstacle and the aid to that confusion is a partner in their life, is some sort of relationship. So that full moon in Libra on the 31st would have brought up a lot of that confusion where now you're really starting to think and wonder like, okay, so this partner is the obstacle to your confusion and also the aid to your confusion. So really exploring your partnership should be the first person you thought of. It's that main partnership. A lot of the times the main partnership is not who you might think it is. You know, for instance, you know, it's not necessarily a boyfriend. It could be a boss. Or it's not necessarily a girlfriend. It could be a boss. It could be a friend. It's somebody who, when you think about a partner, they're your first thought. And when I think of partner, I think of somebody who supports you no matter what. Because I have a lot of, you know, clients and friends who are in relationships and their partner is not their partner. Their boyfriend is not their partner. Their boyfriend is, you know, that dude on the couch, you know? So really think about who this partner could be because it's not necessarily a sexual relationship. It's any type of partnership where you feel very close to them, emotionally connected. Could be child-parent. But regardless, this partnership is helping and hindering your confusion. So you need to work through this energy and really question why you're confused when it comes to this partnership and how that confusion can really advance this partnership as well, okay? Because subconsciously, Capricorn, you guys are really positive, you guys are really energetic, you guys are really optimistic, but that positivity is fueling the confusion. See what I'm saying? That you're positive, you're very optimistic, you're very sunny, you're ready to grow, you're ready to do what you need to do, but then it's like, okay, how? How do I do that? How do I use this amazing feeling that I've been experiencing to really kind of balance out the confusion that's happening in my life right now? You're thinking, Capricorn, about the family always, always. Not just the family's financial security, but their emotional security, okay? So you're confused, you're confident and happy, and all you're thinking about is your family, okay? So that's where that empowerment comes back in the home and family, but still feeling a little bit unstable within yourself because you know that you have to have a lot of strength, okay? Okay, yeah, you guys have really empowered yourselves. You right now, your reputation is on point. Like, people are really, really looking up to you. They're like, wow, Capricorn. They're starting to see, I'm seeing like reduce, reuse, recycle. They're starting to see like how much you're actually able to come back around and really, you know, empower yourself through reusing of tools instead of just saying that's what I used in the past, and I'm not going to use that again. Like, you're really coming back with that Mercury. Sorry. It's the baby, I promise. It's the Mercury retrograde bringing back all these issues and these tools, and you're actually able to use that to empower you, and that's where people are like, wow, Capricorn's doing well. They're shooting for the stars. They're going for it. They're honoring themselves. You know, they're following the moon, the lunar phases, aka they're really tapped into their intuition. They're flowing with life a lot easier. They're trusting life. They have faith. They have optimism. They're completely confident and positive. So this is great. This is really, really great. Family and friends. See, the family and friends also have some confusion when it comes to the partnership as well. So that would be a good source. Going to that family and friend who you know is great with relationships and who's also experiencing something like that as well, because you can kind of see it from the other point of view. For instance, I'm just wondering if I can tell this story. I'm like, okay, no, nobody is a Capricorn that would watch this, that would hear the story. But for instance, somebody that I know was cheated on by their wife, and what they did is they talked to their dad, who cheated on their mom when they were growing up. So they were able to see that different side. They were able to hear an unbiased, well, I guess it was unbiased, but they were able to see that point of view from the cheater's side as opposed to seeing it from the cheatee's side or from the victim's side. And what that allowed him to do was have compassion and understanding for why somebody would make that kind of decision. So when it comes to your partnership and your confusion with your partnership, go to a person who's also confused with their partnership and kind of see it from their point of view. Maybe they're on the opposite side of who you are within your dynamic, within your relationship. And that's a family and friends. That's somebody that you can trust and somebody who's going to not pull down your optimism or your confidence, somebody who's going to still lift you up, somebody who still has that positivity, even though they can admit that they don't know what they're doing in their relationship, they don't know where it's going. Hope and fear, the Star card. See, although people see you as this incredible being who's really shining brightly, that scares you a little bit, because what does that mean? You're already feeling so pinned down. And to have to live up to those expectations as well as feeling pinned down, you want to, but you're like, what does that entail? Is that going to affect this change that I want to create in my life right now? Is that going to affect the emotions of my family and friends? Absolutely not. Don't be afraid of it. That's going to help with your confusion right now. Really owning your power and saying, like, this is what I want. That's another thing with Saturn retrograde. Saturn is ruled by, well, yes, Capricorn is ruled by the planet Saturn. So Capricorns will feel that Saturn retrograde a lot more intensely. It's just going to be a lot of inner work about who you want to be and how you want to really fully embody the Capricorn keywords, which is all about ambition, drive, working hard, professionalism, your reputation, your authority, and how you, not only just your authority, but how authoritative you are to others. So that's where it's going to get really internalized. So you can really, on April 17th, Capricorn, you can go inward and be like, why would I be afraid of shining bright, of shining my star very, very brightly, and and showing the world that I can walk on water and that everything's great and I'm really taking flight right now. Use that Saturn retrograde to question that and go further. Like, does it stem back from an authority figure who kind of said, no, don't? Does it stem back from an authority figure that said, do more? I had the parents that were like, no, don't do that. You have to do more. And then you feel so much pressure because it's like, and then it ends up being a spiteful act to fail, to be like, well, you pushed me too hard. So really question where that struggle is coming from. Even with the Pluto retrograde on April 22nd, that'll really help too. Okay, so outcome of your reading for April 2018 for Capricorn. First step, always be thinking about this state of happiness for your family. This should be the main goal at all times. Happiness, emotional happiness for family and friends. Family and friends aren't going to be emotionally happy if, there's a difference between you deciding that you're going to work so hard in order to financially secure them and financially make them happy, but then you're not happy because you feel pinned down and you feel like completely overburdened and overwhelmed with responsibilities and fighting for this change. You want to really focus on your happiness in order to manifest that happiness out to your family and friends with ease. First step. After you do that, this is what's going to happen. You're going to be given a lot more opportunities. And the good thing about these opportunities is you can kind of ease up on the responsibilities that you already have. Because focusing on this happiness level, this emotional happiness level with your family and friends is going to shift what the universe is saying yes to when it comes to what you're asking. Because you're going to be asking the universe this instead of asking the universe this, which you have been right now. I can't, I'm so busy, I'm so drained, I can't do that, I'm this, that. Focusing on this first, the universe is going to give you a lot more opportunities and you're going to be like, okay, what can I put on the back burner? What can I let go of in order to fulfill a different obligation that will make everybody in my family and friends, including myself, happy? And what that will bring is Queen of Cups. So this could be twofold because lately the cards have been messing with me, and usually the Queen and the King and the Knights have been actual people, but recently they've been energy. So it's been it's been kind of messing with me a bit. So I'm like, is this a person or is it an energy? So Queen of Cups, I'm going to describe the person and then I'll describe the energy. So Queen of Cups, this is either somebody who's going to come in and help you when it comes to this new opportunity and like these new opportunities for growth and kind of letting go of some things and saying, well, okay, let me choose something else and taking that risk for that change. Okay, this person has a heart of gold. Like there's something about this female energy. It doesn't necessarily have to be a male sex, but female energy. This person has a heart of gold, very karmic, very what goes around comes around. So because of that, they're so loving, so giving, so generous, and very focused on their emotions. And that's really going to help because if you're manifesting out to the universe that you want your family to be emotionally happy, then the universe is going to deliver someone that's going to show you that emotional happiness. Especially as a Capricorn, you guys are a little bit more grounded. So sometimes you kind of need to see that emotion from an outside source to be like, oh, that's how it's done. Trust me, I'm like all air. So when it comes to, I literally have no water planets. So sometimes I need to see an emotional person to be like, what is happening? And then I look back and I'm like, oh, okay, that was crying. Like I'm robotic. Anyway, so this Queen of Cups doesn't always speak their voice. They don't always use their voice. It's really reminding me of like the Little Mermaid. You know, they've sacrificed their voice in order to show their emotions. So it'll be more of they show their happiness, they show their sadness. They don't really know how to logically explain why they're feeling the way that they're feeling or how they're feeling. It'll just sort of be, it'll be a presence about them where you can just tell, be like, what's wrong? Or wow, how are you doing? You know, things like that. They don't vocalize it, which can be frustrating for sure. But it is what it is. This person is also very structured. They color between the lines. Where they're kind of perfectionists in a way. You know, they don't really like to go off the beaten path. They don't really like to go out and about. They kind of just want things to be very particular and very structured. And they learned that after having their second child, or could be first child. Yeah, I'm thinking, well, it's the left. Well, that's the right. So, if they have two children and one is a male, that's where they learn to color in between the lines. That's where they learn to stay within the lines. There was something that happened with that child that they just became a lot more organized, I guess you could say. Yeah, it feels more like the male child. So whichever is the male child out of the two, if they have two girls or if they have more female energy, then it's the more masculine one out of the two kids. Could even be a third kid that maybe they lost or they don't see as often. Or, you know, the middle child that feels lost, you know. Or, you know, the Pisces child that just kind of feels like they're, you know, not really there. That seems to be all that I'm seeing for this person. So if this person doesn't ring a bell for you, then it's the energy you want to embody. That's the energy that you're going to fully embody after you're focusing and telling the universe that you want emotional security and happiness for your family and friends. The universe is going to start to give you a lot more options, and with those options, it's going to create this energy. And this energy, like I said, is somebody who's just very giving, very focused on their heart, very focused on their generosity, very focused on what goes around comes around, and realizing like, okay, like I was pinned down in the past, but now I'm using my tools in order to really create abundance and security and emotional wealth. You know, not just financial wealth, but emotional wealth for my family and friends. Realizing that this is such an infinite world where we can kind of come back around and recycle these tools that we learned in even kindergarten. You know, it reminds me of that picture where it's like everything you need to know in life you learn in kindergarten. And it really is going to stem back to that basic, deep understanding of just, you know, the basic goodness of love, generosity, openness, acceptance, and that karmic understanding of what goes around comes around. Okay, so let's see what the Capricorn's advice is for April 2018. What do the Capricorns need to know for April 2018? Oops. I need a card to pop out. Capricorn. Okay, I might have to pull one. Capricorn, they want to pop out. Come on, give us advice, please. Capricorn needs advice for April 2018. There we go. So exactly what we've been talking about. Manifest. Law of attraction. Thoughts become things. One of my favorite quotes, Mike Dooley, thoughts become things. Don't give up. You know, that's the one thing I've noticed the most with the law of attraction is it takes a little bit. You know, it's going to take 3 months. It's going to take a year. It's going to take 6 months. It's the universe conspiring in order to move everything around so that you can get what you want. So you can set goals for the month as long as you can believe them, as long as they're believable. For instance, I'm like, okay, this month I'm going to hit 10,000 subscribers. I'm like, that is a believable goal for me. And because I can believe it, I can achieve it. So that leads me to the photo readings. I'm giving away free photo readings to whoever sends me their photo using my email address below. And all I'm asking is that you subscribe in return so that I can hit my manifestation goal of 10,000 subscribers this month, right before I give birth. I want to show Phoenix, my daughter, you know, how to manifest and how to, you know, set goals and achieve them. So I'm asking for your help, Capricorns. Love you guys so much. The only thing I would request, please don't send me filtered pictures, like no Snapchat filters, like no stars or anything, because I won't be able to read it. Send me who you think this Queen of Cups is. Send me a picture of yourself at the moment, because that's when I'm going to get the most messages. I'm not going to be able to answer anything directly. It's just going to be what I pick up from the picture. Because I know some people are, you know, sending me pictures being like, what does my future hold? And I'm like, all I can see is your past from this picture, you know? You got daddy issues. Like, well, I shouldn't say daddy issues, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so really looking forward to seeing your guys' face. I know I offered this last month, but I forgot which signs I offered it to. So now I'm offering it to all the signs. Just pretty much to check in and to just kind of have fun and expand my intuition and, you know, connect with you guys on a different level. It's so amazing to put a face to a name. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. My email is below. Love you so much. Have an amazing April 2018, and I will see you guys in May. Bye.